Hello, everyone. I'm here to present my topic on the survival of listeria monocytogenes on fresh apples in domestic supply chain. So, bit of an introduction. Fresh apples were once considered to be the safest ready-to-eat choice throughout the world. But this claim was challenged by the listeriosis incident that happened in the USA in 2014 and 15. So this incident happened in caramel apples getting contaminated with listeria monocytogenes, which resulted in 7 deaths. And this outbreak or incident happened in the apple packing facility in California. And the federal investigators found the bacteria throughout the apple packing facility. So this outbreak was the first ever listeria monocytogenes outbreak from apples. This outbreak also highlighted the need for the development of preventive measures to control the presence of listeria monocytogenes across the supply chain, either in the international supply chain or in the domestic supply chain. As far as the international supply chain is concerned, I have already submitted a paper on International Journal of Food Microbiology. And today I'm going to present to you the initial results for the domestic supply chain. So before that, what is listeria monocytogenes? Listeria monocytogenes is a human pathogen of concern in many fresh produce supply chains, including apples. It is ubiquitous in nature, and it has a high mortality rate, roughly 30% in immunocompromised people, which includes pregnant women and their unborn child. So what did I do? The main aim was to determine the effect of domestic supply chain on the survival or the growth of listeria monocytogenes by monitoring the temperature profile of apples through domestic supply chain, right from the pack house to the display cabinet of the grocery store. And whatever temperatures I received are simulating the observed temperature profile in the lab. And then followed by the survival of listeria monocytogenes in open or closed calyx cultivars. I can talk about the open or closed calyx cultivar on the next slide. And also, in the end, the survival of listeria monocytogenes on 2 regions, body and calyx. So how did I do it? So First, I sent some data loggers right from the pack house to the grocery store of the grocery store, and whatever the temperatures I received, I simulated onto the open and closed calyx cultivar. So the next figure you can easily see there is a open and closed calyx cultivar. For open calyx cultivar, I chose Cy Red, and for the closed one, I chose Royal Gala. And this was followed by inoculating the listeria monocytogenes cocktail onto the body and into the calyx of the apple, and then simulating the temperatures, whatever I recovered from the domestic supply chain into the lab, and sampling them at days 0, 1, 2, 3, 5 for the enumeration of listeria monocytogenes. This is the first result, the temperature profiles that I used in the lab. I did 2 supply chain 1 and 2. And if you can see the supply chain 1, you can easily see that the temperatures went as high as 10 degrees Celsius in comparison to supply chain 2, where the temperatures went as high as 20 degrees Celsius. And I simulated the same temperatures into the lab as well. So this is the listeria survival graph, which you can see it on your right. And based on this graph, you can easily see that the graph is literally divided into 2 regions. One is calyx, and the topmost part is the calyx part, and the bottommost part is the body region. So the first thing that this graph is suggesting that there is no growth. So that is a good news, that there's no growth of listeria monocytogenes. And also the initial statistics are suggesting that the listeria survived better in the calyx region in comparison to the body. And when we talk about the second supply chain, we almost saw the similar results also, which is which is statistically no growth in the supply chain too, and also the bacteria surviving better in the calyx in comparison to the body. So the main initial outcomes and conclusions are, as I suggested before also, that listeria monocytogenes did not grow on apple skin or calyx, but the numbers declined. And the surface of whole apples in comparison to the calyx present an unfavorable environment for the growth on the typical cold storage conditions, and the reductions did occur. And the survival of listeria monocytogenes was far much better on the calyx in comparison to the body or the skin. And it doesn't matter whether you have the open or closed calyx cultivar. Once listeria monocytogenes enters the calyx, its survival was enhanced in comparison to the body. And in the end, I would like to thank the Training Center for Food Safety in the Fresh Produce Industry for the PhD scholarship, and all the mentioned colleagues for the guidance and help in this project. Many thanks.
Thank you, Agam. Thank you so much for your presentation.